Mac. Let me ask you. Go ahead. Go ahead, Hakima. Correct. I'm in Chicago, Illinois. No doxing now. Yeah, sure thing. Come meet me. I'll send you the link. You can come meet me at the Dock Restaurant Bar where the Lady Hawk, my sailboat, is at, and I will buy you a beer. Thanks for asking that question. I can't wait to meet you, Hakima. Okay, sounds good. Let's do it this Sunday at noon. I'll put the address in the chat. See you Sunday at noon at the Dock. And they've got great pilsners. They've got incredible imports. They got Polish beer. You are gonna love the beer selection.
Don't wear a tight shirt, okay?
Shirts off at the beach.
I just checked the clubhouse events, and oh my God, here we go. At the top of the list was the critical thinking forum, and right beneath it is the rational, not radical, rational discussion group. That's gonna set off all kinds of shit. I hope.
You know what? Let's do this. This will be the only time we directly copy their topic. We will come up with our own ideas, but we have to do the little wink to them. I think this is only appropriate.
I agree. It'll be interesting to see how many people pop in and pop out to see what the hell's going on. this ought to be fun, at least for a day. Thanks, Roger.
Yeah, no, it's gonna be great. It's gonna be great. It's gonna start in 7 minutes too. So, and the other thing is I have nothing scheduled or rehearsed anything. I didn't know until a minute ago what the title was, but I do have some thoughts on the topic of that room, which is the should the U.S. Should U.S. troops fight drug cartels? It's a very interesting topic, I think. I've got my thoughts, but interesting to hear what everybody else has to say.
I have some initial thoughts as well, but I don't have a set opinion, and I look forward to a rational discussion. I'm surprised.
Hooray! Hey, Rob, that reminds me of, should you jump in into, you see two junkies fighting, and one's a woman, one's a man, and the man hits her. Should you jump in?
Me personally, when I see a woman getting assaulted, which I've only seen a couple times in my life, I am absolutely compelled, not necessarily to involve myself completely, but I will try to minimize and reduce the escalation if I can.
Yeah, I agree. This is kind of the thing. It seems simple, but it could be complicated sometimes.
Yeah.
Do you punch the guy in the face, or do you say, hey, ease up?
So here's an interesting thing. I did a police ride-along once, and in this police ride-along, there was they had pulled over a car that was suspected of a shooting at a wedding reception, and they pulled the suspects out of the car. I was allowed to get out of the car at that stop. They were pulling suspects that were suspected of a shooting. I was able to get out of the car and be in. I don't know if that was a safe place to be or not. But when I was on that same ride along, and there was a domestic dispute, it was requested that I remain in the car because the domestic disputes are so dangerous and volatile that they didn't want the ride along to be present there. So I had to stay in the car for that. Very interesting.
That makes sense.
Do you think?
The domestic situation could escalate, but the shooting already over with. So they investigate, but they don't want you to walk into something domestic. Somebody go eat shit, get you fucked up.
Wait a minute, hold on. Mike is saying he's starting his room at 3:55 now. What time zone is that? Do you mean? Okay.
He's on East Coast time.
Dove says, I'll be leaving this room because John is a racist, unfunny a-hole. I don't think that's very fair, and I don't think that's within the spirit of the title of the room here.
Well, actually, if I can ask that person a question, if you think the word ask used by me indicates that I'm a racist, I would just merely point out that you're being fooled by a speaker using words intentionally to gaslight you. And part of, stoicism, enlightenment deals with, in my opinion, how do we deal with people's communication? Because the brain automatically responds to obnoxious, people. And you will meet obnoxious people, dirty people, smelly people, loud people all day, every day. So what I'm trying to demonstrate is.
Pause that thought. Pause that thought. Monica, can you? I'm gonna go open that room. Can you post it so people can move over there? By the way, I don't know why Christy is riding the nuts of Gary so hard. There is nothing that Gary has ever done for Christy, ever. So, Monica, if you could go ahead and put that in the jumbotron above, that would be great. I'm gonna go open that room. Monica, can you do that? Are you listening?
She'd be right back earlier.
Okay. Serendipity, are you able to do that?
Yep, I got you.
Okay, perfect. I'm gonna go open it. Thank you.
Okay.
This is going to be exciting for people in the audience who may not be aware. Mojo, the positive vibration experience, is opening up his first room in Rational Discussion Group, where he will be parroting Gary Baumgarten's War on Drugs. Should we use Pete Hegseth and the Pentagon to attack international narco-terrorists? Very shortly. Oh, what's her face left? Oh, she's going to go get the link. And then she's going to pin the link at the top. Then you're going to click through and engage in the new Rational Discussion Group.
Tyvek, I see you and you rock. I said I see you and you rock.
Anson, how are you? Oh, look, we've got some guests that are showing up here. We got the world famous John Kitover. He's running for Congress, in case you guys didn't know. Let's see. Get some people invited. I'm going to invite some people to the room. We'll get started in just a minute. What we lack in professionalism of starting on time, we make up for with a heterodox conversation where we welcome polite, informed opinion and dissent. We're going to have a conversation. We're going to leave the chat open. This might be a new experience for some of you that might be familiar with other rooms that move their chat to Facebook for those that have that app downloaded. So we're going to get. Oh, Marshall's here. Look, we got the crew together. Let me bring some people to the stage. I want to bring some of my favorite people to the stage. Republicans, Democrats, Independents, they're all welcome. I think the important thing to recognize here is that if you're going to have a good conversation, you've got to welcome varying opinions. And what we have here is varying opinions. I'm going to moderate a couple of people that I think might sit on different sides of the political spectrum, reasonable-minded people. And this is not to say that I agree with them, because I may disagree with them. I just want to make sure that everyone understands that the room is balanced and that everyone's opinion is welcome, including Marshall's. So the Rational Discussion Group, this is the only place at this hour of day on Clubhouse where you can have a good conversation, where the chat is open and we can discuss the topics of the day. Today's topic was inspired by some people that create a space that don't allow chat unless you download Facebook. And the topic is, should U.S. troops fight drug cartels? I'm just going to give some opening thoughts because I think that's what others would do. So my opening thought on this is that if you want less drugs in this country, we should look at the laws that allow for drugs to be in the country. Let's start with the war on drugs. The war on drugs started in 1971. It was a Richard Nixon concoction. And so with this war on drugs, very similar to prohibition on alcohol, the federal government decided that just because they think it's bad for you, that it ought to be illegal. Now, if you recall what happened during prohibition, people that wanted to drink would still get their alcohol. But because it's illegal, you created an underground economy. This gave birth to not only street gangs here in the U.S. that were selling drugs on the corner. This is what happened with the war on drugs. Same thing that happened during Prohibition. Prohibition only lasted 12 and a half years. We've been at this for over 50 years. But more specifically to the title of the room, should U.S. troops fight drug cartels? Well, the drug cartels themselves are a product of the war on drugs, because if we were to legalize drugs, we could tax it and we could manufacture it here. We can manufacture and label it fentanyl free, making it safer for all consumers of illicit drugs. But more importantly, we would minimize the danger of these drug cartels, and we would take all their power away. And because if we were to make it legal, we can manufacture it, we can completely decimate that industry, and then what we can do is we can declare a legitimate war on drugs to say that if you operate outside of what we've made legal, then we are going to you're going to have serious repercussions, and that would be at country level. I think what we would do is we could work with closing off the border to anybody coming into the country, as long as Mexico is going to allow people to move illicit drugs. By the way, I think the consumers would probably approve of going to a dispensary to be able to purchase their drugs, knowing that they're safer and that they're tested. This is my opinion. But I want to hear from others. We've got a mixed panel here. What we're going to do here, a little bit different, is when you speak, I'm not going to move you down to the audience, because if you speak, somebody might have a response for you, and then to that response, you may want to respond back to them. The right of reply, I think, is very important. I'm going to pass it over to Anson and Moose. We'll start with Anson, we'll get to Moose, but Anson, go ahead and give us your thought.
Well, the reason I'm eagerly anticipating what's going to happen in this room is my concerns that we clearly state the problem, and that is the topic. What is the problem? And then we can, if we agree on the problem but disagree on solutions, that is a legitimate debate, properly and calmly and rationally held. If we don't agree on the problem, then arguing about the solution isn't going to get us anywhere. So, Mojo, I think, stated the problem. Are the importation of illegal drugs in the United States a problem? And I think all of us would agree that that is a problem. Okay. How best should we combat that illegal introduction of drugs into America? That's a broad topic. This one has picked specifically, should the troops, U.S. troops, fight the drug cartels to mitigate the importation of drugs. So, to stay on topic, I would first suggest, I will offer my opinion very briefly. No. United States military troops should never be involved in law enforcement activities, God forbid, inside the United States, but even exterior to the United States. American troops are not trained as law enforcement agencies, and the use of them to enforce the laws is wrong-headed and should never even be considered. So I oppose the idea of U.S. troops fighting the cartels, but I would put a caveat to that. If they come into the country, cross the borders, and law enforcement is unable to thwart that action, then military action by the troops to enforce the sanctity of our borders might well be considered. I'll leave it at that.
Well said. Well said. Moose, go ahead. Let's get your thoughts on the table.
I agree. I'll keep it brief. I know we have other speakers here. So I agree with Hanson. I don't think military, I don't think that was ever the purpose of military, to enforce laws. They're what essentially make us literally a military state. And where we draw the line is even a bigger problem, right? If we're let's war on drugs, right? Like you stated earlier, Mojo with Nixon. Where would we stop? There has to be a distinction between what military represents and what DEA, drug enforcement agency, FBI, those agencies are better equipped, and it's counterintuitive to have military. Like the rabbit hole that we could go down if we start with drugs, to continue down that path to enforce other laws in this country would, I think, just be extremely problematic, to say the least. As radical as it is, what if we tossed out the idea? I mean, we forget, not in history terms, not that long ago. It's not the 1800s. It was, prohibition was real. The fact that you couldn't go out and buy beer, and of course, what happened was organized crime. Al Capone took full advantage of that. So, similar to today, if we legalize a lot of these drugs, it's gonna essentially significantly reduce the demand for the need for the cartel and their business. So, Mr. What others have to say.
Hey, moderators, this is Congressman candidate John Kitover. I'd like to be put in the queue to answer this room title question.
Go right ahead, future Congressman Kitover. We're honored to have you here in our presence. Go ahead.
Thanks for organizing this room and having a rational discussion with regards to this topic. I asked Grok, hey, Grok, why should the U.S. end the war on drugs? How much has been spent on the war on drugs since Nixon? And I tagged Pete Hegseth, the Secretary of Defense. Grok replied, the U.S. should end the war on drugs immediately because it has failed to reduce drug use or availability despite massive costs, fueled mass incarceration, disproportionately affecting minorities, exacerbated violence via black markets, and ignored effective public health approaches like treatment and harm reduction. Diverse analyses, this is all cited by the Brookings Institute and the ACLU, show legalization and regulation saves lives and money. Since Nixon in 1971, over $1.2 trillion has been spent per estimates from the Statistica and the White House Budget Office. That's the first thing I wanted to say in regard. This is what I wrote. This is what I would consider to be the next step. 1.2 trillion.